Ryan here coming to you with a brand new video. And, went out earlier on to run. It was pouring rain, but you know how it goes already. I have to, get the job done, doesn't matter what. So, because I'm a runner, so what? I run every day, and it doesn't matter the condition. Even though it's hard, still have to do it. But speaking of hard, folks, right now, I'm looking at the cost of living. And as you can see my title, the high cost of living is outrageous. And it's very difficult for one person to like survive in this capitalist system here. I know when we say capitalist system, some people don't, they get uncomfortable that the system is actually a capitalist system, or the capitalist system is not causing any harm to the common man. I don't think that's the truth. And I know some people out there will push back and argue with you. Oh, what do you want? Communism, socialism, whatever. But it doesn't, you know, take away from it doesn't remove the fact that the system that we're living under right now, it can get extremely difficult at times. I know they're gonna tell you to work more hours, and so forth, because that's the way. They want you to work more and work more. Hi, Eden. They want you to work and work more and work more. That's okay. Hi, brain rot 202. How you doing? Yep, the struggle is real, Christy. Not kidding you. Hey, Kayla. How you doing? All right. Yeah. So, hi, VSG, VHG. Yeah. So don't forget, folks. Subscribe and push me up to the 500 mark so other people can see my content as well. That would be nice. That would be Joseph. How's it going? So it is. Look at your rent. Just your rent alone. Look at it, and look how high your rent is. Valid hates Google is what it stands for. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, look at your rent and see how high your rent is. Your rent alone, plus food. And if you have a transportation. Hey Marty, hey Mariah, how you doing? Look how high. I from Texas. What? Hey, O'Neill, what's going on? Um, so I'm talking about the high price, the high cost of living. Talking about the high cost of living and how difficult it is for one person to survive under this capitalistic system, under the capitalist system. And I know some people have a problem when we talk about the capitalist system, because it is the best thing since sliced bread and everything about it is good. So, oh, my day's been good so far. Thank you very much. Um, I'm from Jamaica. Yeah. So, um, the system that we are living under is called a capitalist system. And when I look outside and I look around and I see how, you can see the struggle on the people's face, going to and from, back and forth, to doing your 9 to 5. And I understand that some people doesn't understand why they can't get out of their little bubble that they are in there, you know, to bring something better into like, how has your week? Yes, my week has been great. Thank you very much. Yeah. So when those bill comes in on month when those bill comes in, um hi Kevin, you know, when those bill comes in every month and you look at those bills and it's time to make those payments and you are wondering like, why on earth am I paying this much money for just an apartment? Don't forget, folks, subscribe. Get me to the 400 mark. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, to the 500 mark, so more people can see my content. Yeah. So it's a you know it's a difficult system. Not really. I'm not really having a difficult time. It's just that I'm talking about the difficulties that people face, you know, on a monthly basis, day to day too, but on a monthly basis when it's time to pay that bill. You know, so right, so people are not making a whole lot of money right now. And when you do make the money, you realize that majority of the money that you earn goes back to the bill collectors. And you have to start wonder, you know, why, you know that because that's the system that has been set up. And I know that when the common man complain about this, they get pushed back. This is, you know, this is how it's always been, this is how it's always going to be, and maybe that's true. But that doesn't mean we cannot say how we are feeling about the system. But obviously, some people don't want us to talk. And despite the fact that we have, you know, the First Amendment right, Constitution, and so forth, some people don't want to. So some people don't want us to talk because they believe that we are whining, we are crying, and we are complaining. That's not true. We are just looking at the system, analyzing the system, and speak up about it. Hi, you know. So D1 prod, you know. Yeah, and we are look. So it is very tough right now, and I can see why so many people um are homeless. I can see the reason for the homelessness. I can also see the reason for the crime as well. I am not saying that, you know, hey Ed, how's it going? I am not saying that these people are good people who are committing crimes. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the system. Door shut out. Ed has what's up, man? Mhm. Um, yeah. So yeah. So the system right now, I believe the system is pulling people down. You know what I mean? And so many, so many good people are falling victim to the system that we have here. The poverty rate has gone sky high. It has been skyrocketed in the past, at least the past 10 years or so. You can see where more and more homeless people are on the streets. More and more people are falling below the poverty line. I think it's what, 49 million people I heard here in the States, in America. 49 million people are, these are people who hardly can find food to eat. So 49 people are struggling, starving. You know, they cannot meet the basic living standards: food, water, clothing, shelter, medicine, and education. Basic minimum, the minimum, bare minimum. They cannot, they are not reaching the bare, that's the bare minimum. And it's just, it's amazing to me when I hear these complaints, and people are not, taking these people, um, their struggles into consideration. Because you see, the we have to blame the people for everything. It's their fault. They are the reason why their lives are like that. That might be true to a degree, right? But it doesn't mean that the system is not at fault. All right? We spent billions of dollars, trillions of dollars on wars, which we haven't really won. We haven't won a war since World War II. But we continue to fight these wars. We continue to fund all types of psychos, crazy people, you know, just ruthless human being or human beast. And now here comes these people, are gonna tell you that, or I this is what I'm getting from them. This is the impression I'm getting. It is more important because you need to read geopolitics. I have tons of these books. You know, I have tons of these books, and this is just two of them here. All right, read geopolitics, and you will see where a large portion of the money is funneled out, and it goes to the Middle East, it goes to Ukraine, it goes to Asia, even in Africa. And there are people living here who they could spend some of this money on and help them to develop themselves, so that way they can become better people and more productive members of society. But so clearly these people are not, first priority. So the citizens are not first priority. The taxpayers, citizens are not first priority. Fighting wars is the first priority, which I can't understand. It puts us into more debt. Now we have more enemies than ever before. Nobody respects us anymore. We are now looked down on. Folks, there was one time, folks, when people want to be American, folks. People just want to be American. They love the culture. They love, they love the Constitution, because I thought too, at one point too, because I got fooled too. I thought that these guys truly believe in those documents and what they stood and what they stand for. Because there was a time when those were the best piece of document as ever written out there in the world. Nobody has never done anything like that before until these guys got together and created this country and used those documents to, as a guidance for the citizens in the country, to stay free, to develop themselves, and make this country the best country in the world. That has changed more recently. You can see it more and more because it looks like the politicians are getting more desperate, and they are wondering what the hell we are going to do next, because since it looks like there is nobody really left here for them to attack, really, because they got rid of pretty much the weaker countries them already. So now you're gonna have to make your way through to go take out the Iranians, and then of course you're gonna move on to Russia and China. And this is gonna take them 20, 30 years to get that done, and who knows what might happen during a 20 or 30 year period. We don't know. this whole thing can come to an end, can crash. Might use nuclear weapons, who knows? Because we have crazy people running the world. So, spend more money, build more arms, more shiny planes. I think one of the plane I think is the what they call F-35, I believe. In its lifetime, the F-35, in its lifetime, the F-35 is gonna cost at least $1 trillion to maintain it and everything. Now you gotta be kidding me. You see, that's a problem. We're making all these shiny flying machines, these shiny flying objects, and we can't eat them. So, so the money is the money goes to war, technology, and I don't get me wrong. I'm talking to you from a cell phone right now. I love having my cell phone, but do we really need these things really, or should we make these these beautiful pieces of technologies a priority, or should we work on putting more food, make food cheaper, make rent cheaper? Because once you got those two, once you lower the rent, lower the food, now the common man can get a chance to take a shot at life, because he doesn't have to struggle and worry so much about paying this high amount of money for rent. Instead, rent goes up, food goes up. People can barely live. And for God forbid you get sick and you go to the hospital. You see how outrageous that bill is if you do not have insurance. So, we are cooked for now until we see something better, which I don't believe that's going to happen just by some guy feels sorry for us. I just can't see these senators and governors and these ministers sit down and say, I feel sorry sorry for those little guys down there. Let's give them a chance. Let's do something for them. I cannot see that happening anytime soon. That's just not going to happen. So, it's going to take some kind of pushback. And I'm not seeing that happening either. People are looking for a way out. They want to become better than how they are. They don't want to struggle. They want to take a trip up to Alaska whenever they feel like. But that's not happening, because we spend most of our time going from 9 to 5, working, paying bills. And you might say, well, what's wrong with that? You're supposed to work, you're supposed to pay your bills. I never said I don't. I never said I don't want to pay my bills. I've never said that. But can we get something more reasonable? Where it's not so hard. It doesn't, where it's not so difficult to the point where you can barely survive, or you are just barely making it. The common man. Not talking about a guy who is extremely wealthy. He doesn't have to worry about his bills. If we're worrying about paying his bills every month. Doesn't have to. There used to be a family unit. It makes us stronger. If you need help, you can always run to your brother and said, yeah, hey, Patrick, I'm a little low right now. Can you help me out? And until I get back up to where I need to be, I got you. Or they used to be husbands and wives. These days, everybody is independent. Everybody want to be on their own, be by themselves. So, no family unit, family structure that has been destroyed. Because family, that's what they were supposed to do for, to help out each other. That was the sole purpose. All right. DDBB, welcome back. Good to see ya. So there were times when people were when your families stood next to you, and they would not let you fall, because that's sometimes you just need somebody in your corner. Some people can do it on their own. I don't believe most of us are designed like that. Maybe that's nature's way how to weed out the weak. That's one of the conclusion I come to. Or maybe that the capitalist way of weeding out the people at the bottom. So all we have left is just the super supreme good people at the top, while the rest of us, we just keep on getting taken out. Drugs, violence, sent to war. However they can weed us out. Poverty, fall by the wayside. Maybe that's a system that was set up just to get rid of a good portion of us. Birth rate went down. People are not having kids as how they used to. No family, no kids. High cost of living. You are just barely making it month to month. These are some things that I'm observing. And I'm looking at the people who are running the show, because this is a show here. It's going on here. It's a game playing here. And you need to know how to play this game here. I am not saying all capitalists are bad. But when you look at housing in the last couple of years, tell me how many houses you saw that was built for the common man. All the houses that has been built for profit. For profit. That's fine too. But does it have to be that expensive? Can it be a little bit more cheaper? A little bit more doable? Less costly for the men at the bottom? Or, you're going to have to try to make it under this system here? I get it. Either you make it or you don't. Too many people, too many good people are being sacrificed by this monster of a system called capitalism. too many people are struggling under this system. There has to be some type of concession. Has to be. Somebody gonna have to start look out for the common man. If that doesn't happen, and at the rate where they are going with the inflation and everything else, you go to the store this week, you see something for $10. When you go back next week, it's for $13. What? They add another $3 to it in 1 week? What's going on here? Inflation. Food must be cheap, or should be cheap. We can't survive without it. Shelter. We need places to live. We don't want to live underneath the bridges. Your bridges which you don't maintain anyways, they need service and they need to be maintained. You don't do that. So we might be living underneath those bridges, and they tear down, they fall down on us anyways. So we're not safe anyway. Either way. Okay? Now, from my reading and from my understanding, I realized that the system is being run by people who doesn't care not a goddamn thing about the common person. Just don't care. Of course we do. They just don't care. And I don't believe they are going to I don't believe that it's going to change anytime soon. That lack of care, that coldness, you can see is prevalent among the Western democracies. I don't care what country you're going to. Once you see something called democracy, because you see, we are like little kids. So every 4 years, you have to show us 2 person. Because this is part of the show. And you show us 2 person. Which one do you want? Which one of these guys do you want? That's it. The system is not going to change. There is a system there that has been running. I don't care who you put there. They won't do much. Understand that. There's not much going to happen. So they show you 2 guys. Which one do you want to represent you? This guy, the orange guy, the senile guy. Well, how about this lady here? Who do you want to represent you? And that's what they do. So every 4 years, they bring up a whole bunch of people, and then they go through. And then they find one that all of you like. And then they put him there and said, he's the president. Doesn't matter who goes there. He is still, the system that's there is going to be working and operating the way how it operates, which is working against you. That's what's going on here. This system is just working against you. Recently here, I saw where the president went up to Alaska. I thought they were going to have a talk and said, you know what, let's squash all of this beef. Let's finish with all of this stuff. And then, we could start get on a more peaceful terms. That would be a good start. And then the next thing I'm looking forward to is like, okay, now we don't have to spend this much money on wars anymore. We can actually spend this money in the country. We can start building stuff, making stuff. Because the things that we're supposed to be making roads, bridges, hospitals, decent schools, where you can be properly educated to the point where you know how to make stuff, you know how to create stuff, and take it down to the marketplace at a decent rate, a decent price, where people can afford it. Period. You know? Hey, Killer, what's going on? Yeah, but of course, man. Thank you for stopping by again. You know? So, nothing is almost, the basics are not affordable. It's so ridiculous to see how expensive it is to just have the basics. It amazes me how I haven't seen in the past how many years now that they have the past 4 elections here in the States. I haven't seen where any of these so-called presidents who is going to represent the people, or the majority of the people, because that's how you get to that's how you get into become a president. It's the majority vote for you. Majority who? Me and you? I'm not so sure about that. I haven't heard any one of these guys truly sit down or go on national TV and start, talking about a plan. Here is a plan to raise people up from out of poverty. No plan for that. You know? Right on. Thank you for stopping by. you know, there is no plan to raise the people up out of poverty. None. Zero. We can say what we want about the Chinese and call them names and whatever, and they are not as smart as us, and they are lower people and whatever, and we are superior to them and whatever in every way. We can say all of that stuff. But the Chinese set out a plan, I think it was like 40 years ago, and the goal was to raise up to get 800,000 people out of poverty. That's more people than we have here in America. Yeah. And they did it. It has been done. Here are some people who are doing things to help their people. But still yet every day we hear they criticize the Chinese every day. Sure, they don't got everything right. We sure don't over here either. But they are doing things to help the people in that country. The Chinese are opening up ports all over the world. Yep, game over. For real. The Chinese are opening up ports all over the world because they have over 1 billion people to feed. So they have land here in America, farmland, they have farming going on in Africa, farming going on in South America. So that way they can help their people over there. I heard people who go to China, and I also see it too on YouTube as well, how cheap they make you know, stuff there. They made it so cheap where the common person can afford it. Food, very cheap. I think pork. I think that the Chinese produce the most pork in the world, I believe. So these guys are helping the common people, you know? Exactly, exactly, exactly. Yeah, they produce most things for the world. All right? Don't tell me we over here, the superior people, cannot do that for the people who are here. It's plain and simple. They don't want to do it, and they are not going to do it because they don't care. The callousness, the harshness, the coldness, unfeelingness for the common person. It astonished me. I can't wrap my mind around it. You are in a position of power to actually do good, make good decisions, show people that you are actually a decent human being and you can actually change their lives. No, that's not happening. Instead, I think these people are looking at us and they are saying, you know what? Screw you. I don't care anything about you. You can just go F off and, just you have no saying in what we do here. So this is just a one-sided system where a whole bunch of people up there at the top, these strange families that you never heard about, have a large portion of the wealth. BlackRock have $21 trillion in holding. $21 trillion. Vanguard has $10 trillion in holding. State Street, $6 trillion in holding. Folks, that's just 3 corporations, 3 companies right there. $37 trillion. They have just the same amount of money that the US is being in debt right now. $37 trillion. Three companies. What are you doing with that much money? What do you want it for? It's like, what are you gonna buy? What are you gonna spend it on? Doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to them, but to me it doesn't. Yeah. I don't think people understand what a trillion is. It can take you a couple lifetimes to spend off $1 trillion. So, hey Jennifer, welcome back. So it can take you a very long time to spend off, and here comes good old USA, rack up 37 of those trillions. Because I was here talking about the homeless earlier, and I said, that money could use to make houses cheaper. Do you love, of course I love the USA, man. It's my home for 20 years now. I love living here. I have no problem with the US. I have a problem with the capitalist system and the capitalists who are running the system, who doesn't care anything about the common person. And they are just sucking up all of the wealth and use the wealth to waste the wealth. Like, they went to Central America, went to South America, destroy those people's countries over there, kill their, assassinate their presidents, destroy their governments, and now these guys sit down in Guatemala and Mexico and elsewhere, and they said, you know what happened? We're gonna run to cross the border. We're going to America. Now they are here because we destroyed their countries. What happened now? We're gonna spend more money to round them up. Exactly. But I mean, and then, hey, you know what, Killer? If you say anything about it, the strange thing, if you said, these people have too much money, we probably should start, take some of it and then give it to the people. Then here comes the capitalists that are gonna come down on you. Oh, that's their money. You can't do that. You are a communist. You're gonna take people's money. You wanna look. All we need is one of those trillion right now to turn things around, where we can start manufacturing and building stuff, and start helping people out and give people a chance to become better than how they are right now. That could help us a lot. But here is this money. The money has been locked up under those companies, locked up in those companies. It's not touching, it's not coming to the common man. My God, we could build houses. That's the first thing I think we should tackle, so we can deal with the homelessness. The homelessness is a problem. And it's a topic, it's a subject that people don't want to talk about, because you know why? It's their fault. They are the reason why they are homeless. Yes, sure. Some of it they are responsible for, and some of it is, the other half is the lack of opportunity. The money is just not, the money is not reaching them. We could deal with the drug problem as well. I know that that's a big one here, where legalize the flipping drugs, so people can go just legalize it, so that way they don't have to get it illegally, because they're gonna get it anyways. Might as well as make it legal. Money, so much money on the drugs. I think Miami, I heard, I'm not sure how many how many kilos they have to have every night to service the city of Miami. God forbid, not to mention Las Vegas, and we can look at New York, LA, because people are taking drugs. Yes, they are. I don't think we can do much about that other than legalize it, and that way we can start to know who are selling it to the people. Just make it legal. That would save us a lot of the headache that's going on here. But they're not gonna do it, because we need to fight a war and everything. War on drugs. We always have to have a war, fighting something. We have to have an enemy. Period, point blank. Right? But I am going to wrap it up here. This has been a good lecture here tonight. A good talk, a good speech. And I'm looking forward to do more of these, so that way we can understand where we're at, and also what we need to do to change. Because you must remove the chaos from your life. Become a better person, a better human being. Change your life and also affect the people around you as well. All right. Ryan here with a new video, folks. Looking forward to see you soon. A brand new video. Killer Goods, thank you for stopping by. Looking forward to see you soon in another live. Take care. Bye for now.